What's going on, guys? Bank Robber Games here, more Fallout 3 A Tale of Two Wastelands. The last episode, when we left off, we made our way to the end of the Operation Anchorage DLC, which was quite fun. Managed to get all the rewards in the armory vault that you get to unlock after completing the DLC. And at the end of last episode, I did mention that I might start a mod I've downloaded. I looked on the mod page and it actually looks like it will take a little bit longer to complete than I originally thought. So we're not going to do that, and instead we're going to make our way back to Megaton, offload a bunch of our gear, and then probably make a start on the next chapter of the Wasteland Survival Guide. So at the moment we have got our power armor equipped. As you can see, it does make us quite slow, which is the downside of heavy armor. Gonna trade in our baseball bat because we have got the Jingwei shock sword. Gonna sell that fat man. I think at the moment actually we'll keep the winterized combat armor on, just because that movement penalty for the power armor.
I hope things are going well.
I did forget about the books that we could read to increase our skills.
Ah!
I think the winterized combat armor is probably one of my favourite armors in the game as well.
Much for us.
But we're going to head over to Moira to sell anything that we're not needing.
Huh.
So we do have the fat man. That we're going to sell this just because we do have that other one back in at home with hard condition. I think first of all, going to give her some of our caps.
Good hunting! The second chapter is going to be a bit trickier, I think. It'll cover how to handle creatures out there, for better or worse. For example, repelling mole rats, learning about mirelurks, and when all else fails, how to handle being injured. So let's buckle down and get to work on this chapter. What's first?
So first thing we're going to be doing is talking about how to handle injury.
Well, I never get to study anyone who's severely injured. Not without them crying to be fixed right away or trying to bleed out and all that. But obviously, you can handle a lot of abuse. So if I'm ever going to find a good example of human anatomy and injury resistance, it'd be you. Next time you get badly injured, return here so I can examine you before I heal you up. I mean, you're going to get yourself hurt anyway, right? Wow, what a great research assistant you are. I mean, really, that's dedication. Demonstrating how to withstand pain by getting injured? Wow. When you're ready, come back here with some serious injuries, maybe a crippled limb or two, and I'll take notes and fix you up. I'll be waiting here with plenty of bandages for you, so don't worry. Just go get horribly injured. Oh, and be careful.
So we have to return tomorrow with less than 50% health, and we have the optional objective of receiving a crippling injury. This is a lot easier to do if you don't have the perk Adamantium Skeleton. But how I've always done this is if you just come over to the side here and jump off down onto this ramp. There's it's quite a fine line between not taking any damage and killing yourself. So we do need to be careful, but we just need to do it a few times and then we should get a crippled leg. Another way you can do this as well is by going over to somewhere and stepping on some mines, or trying to use some frag grenades on yourself. That's another way that you could probably get this quest completed. But we have got a crippled leg there, along with losing enough of our health to complete the main objective. Very quick one to finish.
Well, how do you feel? Oh, I know it does, dear, but it's for a good cause. Try not to squirm so much while I take notes. Now, how would you describe the pain you're feeling? Any advice for how to keep it from being overwhelming? And remember, this is for posterity. That's a very enlightened attitude you've got. Shame it doesn't stop bullets, huh? Luckily, I'm here to patch you up. Now hold still and quit fidgeting. Ugh! How can you be walking around like this? Okay, I even stitched a little smiley face in you to keep up your spirits. It's kind of hard to see from your side, though. Here, take this environment suit of mine. It will help with medical tasks, and it should help prevent the effects of exposure, too.
So for completing that we get some chems, but for doing the optional objective we do get the environmental suit, and it's basically an upgraded radiation suit with a little bit more damage resistance as well.
There's a sort of mole rat repellent I've developed. I need it to be tested on a few mole rats before I can say it's a success. There's a lot we don't know about mirelurks and how intelligent and dangerous they are. That definitely deserves research. And that should be it for the second chapter. Which do you want to check out? Mole rats can burrow into almost anything and cause a lot of trouble. So I figured I'd make a chemical repellent stick for people to shoo them off. But I need it to be tested before I put the recipe to paper in the guide. So I need you to find some mole rats and test it out a bit. It'll be easy. One tap with the applicator and it overwhelms their senses with a sort of feel-bad sensation. Then they're gone before you know it. You could test it out on just a few mole ratties, but for real testing, try it on 10 or more. There should be plenty in the tepid sewers downtown.
So we get the repellent stick. It's quite a funny weapon. It's not, doesn't really do any damage to regular enemies, but mole rats it will. Well, we'll see what it does. The location that Moira suggests, the tepid sewers, isn't actually the best location to find mole rats. You're better off just running into them, running around the wasteland, basically. But we will go there just to show it off, and we'll get some map markers as well. I don't think I've actually ever seen a super mutant swim before, which is quite funny. It looks like the Blooded Outcasts were going out for a rematch against Raiders there. So we can go through Arlington Metro to get the luck bobblehead. So we'll make sure to do that at some point soon. On our way over this bridge, we do need to be careful because there are some mines. Normally there are a lot more than that though, so don't know if we got lucky or... Here is the Anchorage Memorial. Up the top here as well, it is a sort of random encounter zone.
It's alive! The Wasteland is reborn! I saw life. Life is returning to the wastes. The Great One brings it to all of us. I'm hit! Oh!
I don't actually think I've had this encounter before, but I assume it's This is obviously talking about Oasis. That will give you a map marker for Oasis if you haven't got one before. I think that's the third random encounter we've got to get that map marker. But here is the Anchorage War Memorial, and last episode we saw what this is based on, which is pretty cool. Over here is the tepid sewers. And this is where Moira sent us to test out the mole rat repellent. We need to be quick though, as we come in. But down here you'll notice that there is actually gas in the air, so we can't use any energy weapons because it will cause a fire. But there is a turret as well that we want to deactivate. See, there is gas in the air. Now you want to deactivate that turret because it does have a tendency of taking out some of the mole rats that are down here. And here is our first finger as well, that we'll be able to take to the regulators later on. So we have got light steps, so we don't need to worry about activating these mines while walking over them. But it's still worth picking them up because, just like before, they are a good source of money. And there was a unique named bandit here, Rock Salt. And I do remember them having a unique finger on them that you can hand into the regulators. It might be because we haven't visited the regulators HQ yet. Using Rock Salt's key, can open that safe, and there's a few other containers we can open up in a minute. So we did manage to get quite lucky and complete the optional objective there, as well as levelling up, which is nice. So we get weapon handling. This lowers the strength requirements for all weapons by 2, and this should allow us to use every weapon in the game and meet the strength requirement. We'll also get better criticals. 50% bonus damage every time we do a critical hit is very powerful, along with, I think it was finesse, a skill we got a little while ago, which increases our chance to critical hit by the same equivalency of 5 extra points in luck. So, starting to get very powerful now. And we will be able to sell our stealth boys. Now we've got the Chinese stealth armor from the Operation Anchorage DLC. And they sell for a lot of money. And this will open up to Georgetown, which is quite a dangerous area, so we're not going to go through that door. I'm pretty sure we'll be going there later anyway. Now we can return to Megaton and talk to Moira about her mold app repellent.
Oh, I can't wait to hear how the repellent's working.
You do have the option to lie to her.
Oh,
We're not going to do that.
Excellent. Substantial field testing, precise reports, and such dedication. Ah, what more could I ask for in a research assistant? So, how did my chemical repellent work? Safe and clean like a charm, I'll bet.
So, obviously, it did a little bit more than repel them.
Those poor little mole ratties. Oh, I wonder if I could make a hypoallergenic version. Oh, but that'd hardly be effective. I should mention that. Proper handling of mole rats could be important if they could be domesticated. Milked, maybe? Oh, anyway, keep the repellent. Oh, but for your trouble, here, have the leftover chems from working on the repellent. I'm sure you can find some use for them.
So now we're just going to carry on and
yes,
do
knowing more about
that
them can help
Marlux.
people learn to avoid or even outsmart them. So I picked up this observer device to study them in their natural habitat. I need you to hide one in one of the spawning pods in their lairs. That's great. I recommend the nest at the Anchorage War Memorial. I knew a trader who talked about the Mirelurks down there. Just go inside and find one of their spawning pods, probably down near the water. Put this observer inside and get out quietly. And be sure not to kill any Mirelurks inside their nest. If you do, it could ruin the validity of the study.
So you don't have to
Billy says not to talk.
not worry about taking out any of the Mirelurks. But this is one reason why I like to do the Operation Anchorage DLC first before starting this mission, because it does give us unlimited stealth boys with the Chinese stealth suit, so then we don't need to worry about being spotted, so it allows us to complete that optional objective a lot easier. Go outside and tell Dogmeat to wait. Right, we come in here. There is this dead mercenary with a note on them. Tell there. Something about harvesting Mirelurk meat. Obviously this guy didn't get very far. And then along with our Chinese stealth armor, we have got silent running, which will make things much easier for us. So all we need to do, head down to the bottom of this area. Being careful not to get too close to the Mirelurks, because they will still spot us like that. But we'll just move into caution. Then we hide the observer in the egg bunch there. That is that objective completed. But there is more for us to do here, including getting our hands on another blueprint or another recipe and a unique weapon. And this isn't quite where I wanted to go. So this is the other entrance that it tends to send you to with the quest marker. We come down here. Again, but just being careful of the Mirelurk there. There is this note here. So in this note you'll mention, and if for some reason you've forgotten the password, you might want to sit down and have a think with a Nuka-Cola, if you catch my drift. So there's this terminal here, and it is an average lock, so we could unlock it. So if we come over to the Nuka-Cola machine, there are access codes behind it. We can use the password, which allows us to log straight in, and then there's this option here to unlock the secure medical safe, and And again, you can unlock the safe with lockpicking, but this allows you to bypass that. Just another really cool sort of unmarked quest. I didn't actually realise you could do all this the first several times I played through the game. Here is that medical safe, and we want to pick up the junk door component. You can definitely tell that the Chinese stealth armor is a little bit overpowered. That is the way back into the Wasteland. I think these Mirelurks here you can actually take out and it won't affect the quests we're doing for Moira. It's part of the Wasteland Survival Guide, but I'm not 100% sure, so I've always just prefer to keep them alive. And then there is this utility door here. See, we need a repair skill of 35, and that requires that junk door component. And in here, there is a note about the stash. It's saying about going downstairs in one of the freezers. Need to make sure to get the key. Along with the caps, there is the tenderizer unique sledgehammer weapon. It's pretty cool. And then there's obviously a nuclear code quantum and a skill book here for us. I think it's the main loot. But the tenderizer is pretty decent. It hits pretty hard because it's a sledgehammer, but it does reduce the target's damage resistance by 5, which isn't necessarily the most useful skill, but obviously if you are focused on a melee build, you will be able to make use of that. Basically it just gives you a little bit of free damage. But it's very easy to find where the safe is. Just need to be careful. Be as stealthy as possible. There's a Mirelurk King here. We should just about be able to avoid. Not too worried about that medical box. But we make our way down these stairs. There'll be another Mirelurk Hunter, which is stood right in front of where we need to go. He tends to stay in that corner as well. Here's a note about unlocking the secret compartment on the back of the freezer. And there is a lot of Mirelurk cakes, which are a pretty good healing item. You can see 3 health a second for 36 seconds is quite good, and it only gives you 2 rads as well. So it's much better than just base Mirelurk meat, and we do get the recipe to make Mirelurk cakes there as well. And as far as I can remember, that is all the substantial loot in this area. There are office section, I think, and like a cave section attached to the Anchorage War Memorial, where the Mirelurks obviously broke in. But from what I can remember, there isn't really much or any substantial loot. Obviously you might get lucky and get a lot of caps in a safe or something like that. But we're not too worried about that. Obviously all the Mirelurks have to get in our way. Really annoying. Hopefully if we're quick we should be able to stay hidden. So that is the door that it tries to send you in using the quest marker. We obviously came in this way though. Just going to pick up dog meat again. Travel back to Megaton.
So, are they intelligent? Do they have a leader? Some sort of king? Or priests? Or some sort of scaly community center? I'll bet most people would have just gone in there, guns blazing without half a thought. But not you. You're the best research assistant ever. I've been getting a good signal, but what do you think about them from your first-hand observations of them? That's very scientific of you. Personally, I wasn't sure if they were crabs or if they came from some sort of brine shrimp, perhaps. Some of these observations about their armor and camouflage gave me an idea for reinforced, neutral-colored headgear. Here, consider it thanks for not interfering with them. Oh, speaking of which, take these, so you can continue to avoid them in the future.
So for completing that we did get 6 stealth boys, which is really, really handy, and obviously we'll be selling them because we've got our Chinese stealth armor, but they're worth a lot of money, so either way it's definitely a good reward. And then we got a shady hat as well, which is a unique piece of clothing. And then that does complete the second chapter's research.
Correct as always. And your feedbacks really led to a very smartly written book. Maybe too smart for some folks, I worry. Of course, if the reader can't be bothered to understand something important as a book on how to stay alive, then what can we do, huh? And in case those readers blame you for their ignorance, Here's your payment. 2 big boxes of ammo. Now, on to the next chapter.
So you get a decent amount of ammo for completing that mission. We are going to take a break.
Don't take too long. The sooner the book's done, the more people we can save with it.
Just for the time being.
Here. You've done so much for us. I want you to have this. It's all I have to offer you.
Then we're just going to drop off the tenderizer. And I'm going to wrap this episode up here because it has been quite a long episode. Next episode, I think we may as well just start that mod that I was going to start this episode. And it's basically acts as a big tour of the Wasteland. And I've not done it before, so I'll be experiencing it for the first time as well, which is pretty cool. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode and been enjoying the series so far. If you have been enjoying the series, please like and subscribe for more, and then that way you won't miss out on anything. And any mods that I've mentioned throughout the video will be linked down in the description below, so you guys can download them and test them out for yourself. But thanks again for watching. Always appreciate having you guys here, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.